XRP holders, are you ready to become billionaires? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. And I don't actually think that you will be becoming billionaires, but I do think you're going to do very well off of it. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. This video is going to be a bit of a follow-on from a video I released just the other day that was titled, "The US government is about to choose Ripple XRP to issue a digital dollar." And we looked at why it was I thought this. And one of the reasons was, of course, to do with what was taking place with Tether, and that many people within the US, including Congress, actually think it is a massive threat to have the largest issuer of a US dollar stablecoin exist outside of the US. And this is where I think Ripple is going to step in as a US company that coincidentally announced the launch of their own US stablecoin. And actually, we went all the way back to the 9th of March 2022. And we looked at the Biden mandate that was signed in the form of an executive order for digital assets. We looked at some of the key features. And one of those features that was important was to promote US leadership in technology and economic competitiveness to reinforce US leadership in the global financial system. Tether does not fit that bill. However, XRP may do. So I don't want to talk too much about the things that we spoke about in the video that we did last week. By the way, that video got something like 54,000 views. And before we dive into what we're going to be talking about today in regards to some recent things going through Congress, what was proposed by Tom Emmer, who is essentially kind of hinting at what we were talking about. And there's a bill currently going through the House that is going to ensure the Fed can't actually enable a CBDC. It has to be done by an open sourced technology. Again, I think there's a Ripple link here. I think they're the best position to be that open source technology. But before we dive into all that and what the recent bill that's going through is, and look at how we also spoke in our previous video about how Augustum, the BIS chair, also spoke about a new financial system, and I think Ripple XRP could be the rails of that financial system. I want to just speak about the frustration that I see towards XRP and Ripple. And firstly, I just want to say I understand it. As somebody like myself who's been an investor in the cryptocurrency market since 2017, an observer, I am going to say, since the days of Silk Road in 2012, I have been keeping an eye on XRP for a very long time, and it has been disappointing. There's no which way you can look at it from an investment point of view to say anything other than it's been disappointing. But I think that disappointment may very much be worth the wait. And again, we got something like 54,000 views on the XRP video that we did just the other day. It was huge. It's certainly far bigger than the vast majority of other videos that I do in regards to viewership, because XRP just has such a massive community. All these people that are waiting for XRP to do what they've been promised by various individuals to take place. So if I wanted to, I could make videos on XRP every single day and get more views than the vast majority, pretty much the majority of XRP YouTube content creators out there. But we don't choose to do that because we're not an XRP YouTuber. We are a crypto YouTuber that believes in the fundamental change that the distributed ledger is bringing to the world, and XRP is playing a role in that as far as the financial system is concerned. And we're going to continue to highlight it. But I understand the frustration. And just quickly, a little bit of advice is, if you don't like XRP or Ripple, don't spend and waste your time watching videos about it and then leaving comments on it. By all means, do for this one, because the comments really help me out in regards to the algorithm. The hate, I guess we got to take the rough with the smooth, just like everything in life. But you're not doing yourself any favors by spending your time on videos about things that you don't like. It's kind of a negative loop. So just, bear that in mind. But I understand the frustration with XRP, and this is going to bring me on to where I want to start this video off, talking about why it is I'm actually highlighting XRP at this point. And I've made a number of videos on this, and I'm going to continue to do so until it plays out. The reason in which I'm highlighting XRP today is not necessarily because of the fundamental news. That's going to be why it does what is technically being signaled to us in the charts. And what I'm calling for and banking on, why you're all going to become billionaires, is a repeat of what took place in 2017. We are setting up in the exact same fashion. This is a larger pattern. I'm not saying do the same kind of percentages, but I could definitely see a double digit and then some XRP price. I've got a number of people who I really respect that are throwing price predictions in the $16 range, the $20 range, and so on and so forth. And I think that would be a spectacular return on investment if that was to play out. So we have, even though I was buying XRP down here, really started only accumulating it again here, ready for this to take place. And that's what I do think is on the cards. And the catalysts for that are, of course, going to be fundamental. So it actually being used. And if we see the kind of volume that we see in the remittance markets go through Ripple, or XRP, I should say, probably through Ripple, that is going to see that super spike, that turning on of a switch that the charts are potentially predicting. Now, on the topic of what I spoke about in my prior video on XRP, I want to dive over to a clip of Tom Emmer. This is from his Twitter, and you can see he has tweeted, any central bank digital currency that is not open, permissionless, sounds like XRP, and private like cash is nothing more than a big government surveillance tool. This week, the House will take action to prevent the Fed from ever issuing one by passing our CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act, which essentially is going to see the digitization of the dollar fall into the hands of technology companies. And there is going to be and we know this is a government mandate, an effort to ensure that this technology company, or these technology companies that enable this, and I think Ripple is very well positioned, have to be within the United States and their jurisdiction. So let's dive over to this clip. Then we're going to play a clip actually from the House of Representatives, actually talking about this in more detail. And then we're going to finish off with a clip of Augustin talking about the fact that they're going to throw the old financial system in the bin and implement a new one. And I will be doing a video at a later date. So I obviously am very in tune with the traditional financial markets. I've had to do it as an economist, as a technical analyzer, as a speculator on the markets. And it's very interesting that we've got this massive debt burden that perhaps could be solved by a conversion of that debt into cash. And that may be enabled by a digital ledger, but that's for an entirely different video. It's quite a complex process that involves me explaining the sort of financial system as it is and the problems with it, which we do on a daily basis in our daily market updates, and how a digital ledger can fix this. But let's just start off with Tom Emmer talking about the bill put forward and talking about how this thing needs to be open and permissionless. And again, Ripple and XRP really spring to mind in regards to all of this.
Also got a central bank digital currency bill on the floor, which literally says the federal government could create one, but they're going to have to get authorization from Congress, and it's going to have to emulate cash, which simply means that any digital currency issued by the government must be open, permissionless, and private. It can't be used like the Chinese are using the digital yuan, which is basically a surveillance tool where they're building social scores on their citizens based on their purchases and their behavior. We can't have that in this country. That's un-American. We need a digital currency that actually is consistent with American values.
This is interesting. The fact that he says if the central bank want to do a digital currency, it needs to be open, permissionless, and private like cash. You know, there's quite a few dots that are adding together. And again, we're only highlighting XRP because of the technical significance we think it has currently. Not because of what's been said about it, a lot of it completely not true over the past few years. And we're looking at fundamental reasoning to why that may take place. And my fundamental reasoning to why we may see, or one of the fundamental reasons to why we may see XRP perform in a similar manner to what it did in 2017, and we know it's certainly technically setting up to do that, is because it's going to be chosen by the US to facilitate a digital dollar to further the dollar's role around the world. Let's move on to another clip from the House of Representatives talking about this bill put forward by Tom Emmer in a little bit more detail, and then we'll move on to a clip of Augustin.
Now let me turn to highlight the importance of Whip Emmer's H.R. 5403, the CBDC Anti-Surveillance Act. This bill is very simple. It prohibits the Federal Reserve from issuing a CBDC unless it's open, permissionless, private, and fully preserves the privacy protections of cash. Fortunately, the U.S. Constitution expressly grants Congress the sole authority to coin money and regulate the value thereof. However, vague statements from the Federal Reserve about the legal authority to issue CBDCs necessitate this legislation. We must make it completely clear that authorization must come directly from Congress. Claiming that a CBDC is needed for faster payments further ignores the private sector innovations. CBDCs put the government in a place where they don't belong. The only benefit that a CBDC has is increasing surveillance and control over Americans' financial lives, which flies in the face of America's right to privacy. I thank the committee for your time, and I look forward to our discussion.
So this bill has support, and it's going to be very interesting, and certainly I think a bullish thing for Ripple to see if this plays out. Like I say, technically we are looking at something monumental taking place once again for XRP. It's long overdue. I know you've all been waiting. I know everyone's sick and tired. But if you look at when this particular channel has started to highlight XRP once again, it is recently because of the technical significance of the chart. And we are addressing some fundamental reasons that may lead to that. Let's play the last little clip of Augustin actually talking about throwing away the old financial system and ushering in a new one. And I would bet that blockchain is going to play a role in it, if not XRP specifically, as it was always built to be the rails of not just currency remitting around the world, but traditional financial assets.
At some point, you have to say that DC9 should go into the garbage can, and you need to get a new plane. And so we got a new plane, and it became very efficient, and we saved a lot of money, and everybody was happy. At some point, we need to do that with the financial system, So a lot of what we discovered is that friction or difficulties is cherished also by some intermediaries because they make money out of it.
So, coming back to the chart, there are a few things that could see XRP spike in a similar manner to what it did in 2017. I think this whole stablecoin thing, the whole lawsuit, there's something fishy about the whole thing. And I think ultimately Ripple as a company is setting up to be a unicorn company like Microsoft, like Facebook, like Amazon, that are all US companies. And it's one reason the US is so powerful, but for the financial markets. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me. Let me know if you enjoyed this video. If you did, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment if you want to take things a step further and find out what I own. Do consider becoming a Patreon. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you. Thanks for watching. See you in the next.